know what, I'm not going to do any of this scarcity tactic anymore because I'm an honest marketer, right? We don't have to do this scarcity tactic. Let's just put up something nice. If they want it, get it. That does not work, right? I know a lot of marketers would have good intentions, but people will be people. Okay, so we're talking about conferences today and how to build a conference, how to organize a conference. What's the last conference you've been to? I'm sure you've been to conferences, no?
I went for a talent bank conference recently where it's not a conference per se, like the typical conference sense of the word, but they set up a situation where a lot of mentees were able to meet with people who are supposed experts. So they sat down and discussed various things like their career progress and so on.
And
Yeah.
how many people were there during the day?
Wow, it was quite huge. They booked an entire hall, so I think 100 to 200 people. They enlisted a bunch of mentors, and the mentors were able to give their feedback on various career progressions that the public or people who had registered for the conference when they came, they were able to provide their feedback. And this ran on for like several rounds.
Okay, and how much did you pay for this conference?
Interestingly, it was free.
Maybe I can share some insights from someone who has organized events and conferences. Prior to Underdog Ad Con, I think there are a lot of different events that I've ran before, including one very interesting one called Drink Entrepreneurs. Basically, people meet up after work in a bar. We, as an organizer, we share profit with the bar owner. And that's something that I've done like long time ago. This is like 7-8 years back. But one of my biggest belief is you shouldn't give away free tickets at all.
This is like Joker's key quote, you know, if you're good at something, don't do it for free.
I mean, he has a point now. You know, when you give free tickets, people don't appreciate them. Especially those free ones, or those people who got it for free. And you notice these people will be sitting around. They don't turn up early. They leave early, right? They are on their phones. They're not really invested in the whole event. Now, compare this to people who are paid for an event, right? They're going to come early. They're going to dress much better. They're going to come prepared with their name cards because now they're invested in this event. From an event organizer perspective, right, it's very, very tempting to give away free tickets because you have this fear nobody's going to show up for your event.
In most things that we do also, that there's always this issue of reach versus quality of people, right? You know, oh, we had 100,000 people, but everyone didn't know what they're talking about. Or we had this select group of like 10, 20 people, but they were all experts. Again, it's the quality versus quantity debate.
Let's use the baseline of like the conference you attended, right, as an example, right? Did they provide food for you?
No, I guess there's a lot more planning involved when it's actually a paid conference.
I mean, obviously, I've not run very, very big events before. Well, Underdog Marketing Con was last year in November, was about 120 people big. With most events, you have to provide food. I just don't know why. I don't know how to explain it, but I think people attending events, when it's time around 12 p.m. or so, 12:30, you see people getting a bit fidgety. They can smell the food coming in behind because the buffet is getting set up. And when people start eating, right, they start sitting in groups. And then when people start sitting in groups, they start talking to each other. And then at the end of the day, they say, wow, your event is amazing.
Most of the time, people go to conferences because they see a particular topic that they are interested in.
Yep.
The value is actually in the people that you meet there. Providing food, definitely, you know, Malaysia being the land of food. I think that's why I say you really had your money there if you were to talk about the 7 deadly sins and not of like setting up an ad conference and not providing food, right? That's spot on, man.
So how have I decided is that Underdog Marketing Con was like more like a first kind of event. It's like a whole blanket marketing thing, right? And I didn't really have any focus on particularly any sort of marketing direction. The second time I'm running this, it's Underdog Advertising Con. So you're focusing on paid advertising. So all the topics is going to be advertising only. And what I'm envisioning next time is that when we run again, it'll probably be Underdog Influencer Con. So we focus on influencer marketing, and then we have Underdog Social Media Con or something like that, right? So every time we run it, we have a different sort of theme. One of the things that I've actually wanted to do for this round is to have like an after party session. So imagine like you come for a conference at 9 a.m., you have your lunch, you have your tea time, you have your coffee break, and then once the conference ends, but then we open up like a happy hour moment. You can get drinks off the bar and continue until late. The ticket will come with one free bottle of beer or something like that. And I wanted to run this at this place called Rex KL, a huge like old theater, right? And they have these like bars outside there. When I evaluated the whole situation, right, I felt like okay, we need a crowd of at least 300 to 400 people, and that's a bit too much at this time, right? So I didn't do that. But that being said, I've slated to run something like that sometime in October this year. And one of my concerns earlier on was like, okay, if we were to run this around April, May-ish, right, which is currently where the conference is at, right? It's in the Ramadan period. We do have like Malay audiences as well. Now they don't drink, and it's a bit unfair for us to charge a ticket and then include a bottle, but when these people don't drink.
There is a lot of value in how you are structuring and doing it. Obviously, it's also we need to be mindful of who drinks and who doesn't.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about marketing a conference. So, coming back to the conference you attended, right? How did you first find out about it?
It was a series of like Facebook ads, and I had probably given email to Talent Bank before. They would email some of these items to me, and I would just see if it's a paid event or not. Kind of a random round robin. It wasn't so targeted because I was assigned to a mentor earlier, even before I had reach the destination. I decided to shorten the time with each mentor that I meet. I only gave them like 15 minutes, and then I said to them, oh, it's very nice meeting you, then I move on to the next person. Sometimes 15 minutes is probably not so much time to be able to get to know a person.
Okay, so what was the goal of the event? I mean, if we look at Talent Bank's like objective, right, they are a job platform, right?
They provide recruitment resources and basically opportunities to people. I think their objective so far, I would think it's focused very much on reach.
Okay.
So they are probably not doing a business model of this for now.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and that makes sense because you see, again, the reason why they run a conference is because they want to build this audience of talents that they can use to provide to their the employers, right, which is the businesses, and that's where they make their profits from. Marketing wise, I mean, we were talking about it. I can break down that they probably send email marketing. They do email marketing. They send emails. They run Facebook ads. Do you see it here on Facebook, or do you saw it somewhere else?
I saw it on Facebook. Again, word of mouth is very important. Sometimes it's friends who initially forwarded me the ad. In the same vein, I also saw it on my emails. It's like maybe 2 or 3 touch points before it triggered me to actually say.
So the first conference I ran last year in November, right? I didn't really spend much on ads. The total ad spend was less than 2,000. One thing I realized from running a conference is that you have to be different. There's this book, right, called the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. So one of the rules is you have to always be first. Let's just say you're in the market to create like phones, right? Maybe let's just say the phone runs at 10 CPUs. Let's just say, yeah. You create a phone, you say, oh, now we created a new phone and we have 12 CPUs. Now that's not going to be attractive to people. Compared to when you create something, oh, we created a phone and now it's modular. It's totally new, never seen before. Now people will get attracted to that. Marketing is a battle of perception. One of the things that I've done, right, is that I've took the conference public and made it transparent. You can actually track the revenues as we were marketing and pulling in audiences for the conference last year, right? And I'm doing that the same for this upcoming round as well. So this is never seen before. It's something new in the market. No conference actually does this sort of things. No conference will actually share with you the numbers, their revenues, their lessons, their learning. So that's number one, right? And number two, I use this tool called Bonjoro. It's bonjoro.com, bonjoro.com. And for every participant that signs up to the event, I would send them a personalized video. Like, John, hey, thanks for getting a ticket to the conference. I appreciate you. I don't take you for granted. Now, 2 questions I have for you. Number one, how you come across the conference. And number two, what is something that you want to get out most from the conference? Now, most people will reply back to that message because it's something they have not seen before. Nobody sends them a personalized video when they join a conference.
This is one thing that I really appreciate about working with you because you're one who's ready to experiment all the time to look into different ways that you can do things. I think you're getting a lot of traction because you are willing to try new things.
But I have to admit, when it comes to trying out new ideas, like it's scary, right? It's definitely scary because you get that adrenaline rush, and then when you see things happening, then you feel validated. But there are moments, right, when you try something new, it does not work. 1 week goes by, 2 weeks goes by, you start to feel, that sort of thing. So we make decisions based on what we see other people do. And a lot of us, we copy people that we admire, right? So like if you like maybe Apple phones a lot, you like Apple the company, and you see them do one sort of like advertisements, you tend to follow that kind of style. So I think a lot of people, they like to follow, and they only do things once you see someone else do it. Sometimes you have to go into uncharted waters where you don't see anybody doing it, but you try yourself just boldly. I have to admit, it's not easy at all. I've experienced a sort of like scares and imposter syndrome and all that kind of stuff you can mention. It's very, 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 very normal. Right? Anyway, let's go back to a little bit of the conference part of like signing up for tickets again. So another question for you, John, is when you sign up for the conference, right? Did they put up any scarcity tactics?
They just say limited seats are available. Nobody believes
Yeah,
that.
right.
It's just
Right.
something marketers say to,
Yep.
but who knows, right? Yeah, if you're new to the whole marketing
Yep.
scene, everyone is like,
Yep.
oh man, there's limited seats.
Yeah.
But what they try to do is that they try to assign everyone to a mentor. Scarcity tactics, I find like countdown timers and all that, they work very well.
Yeah.
And it goes back to one of the famous case studies that like when the Concorde plane was going away, they announced it and everyone was like, oh no, it's going away. And so everyone started buying Concorde tickets and eventually it saved the company. One very famous company that did this a lot is the peanut butter company in Malaysia.
Joby. They were in the last conference, and they addressed that the thing during the conference itself as well. That's the interesting part of it.
There's not a lot of platforms in Malaysia that highlight this story. I would say that it stretches the boundary of right and wrong, like
Yeah.
whether or not you
Yeah.
need to a certain degree of integrity. But like you say about pushing new ideas, wow,
Mm.
Juby did it, man. That is certainly like they
Yeah.
leverage on something that they know is going to work and they just hammer it home.
Right. So of course, I mean, to give you a summary of that let's jump into a little bit of Joby right now, right? They do have like audiences on the left and right. Some people are their supporters, some people are not their supporters, right? So in their defense, they said that they really were in trouble at that time. Basically, some people got the message wrongly, maybe they worded it wrongly, so they said sorry, but some people don't really accept it anymore. So until today, they're still trying to repair this damage that has been done. Around that time in November, December last year, right, they were actually fundraising. And this little issue, right, actually affected a lot of that fundraising that they were doing. I don't know how their fundraising is going or is completed right now, but definitely it had a dent in the whole campaign itself because when they start pushing this out to the public, right, people are like, now you're asking for more money again and all that kind of stuff. So coming back to the conference part, right, we're talking about scarcity, right? Now I think people will be people, right? So there was a time in my marketing career where I thought like, you know what, I'm not going to do any of this scarcity tactic anymore because I'm an honest marketer, right? We don't have to do this scarcity tactic. Let's just put up something nice. If they want it, they get it. That does not work, right? I know a lot of marketers would have good intentions, but people will be people, right? And I see this again in the last conference itself, right? When we marketed Underdog Marketing Con, we just put one price, and that's it. Tickets did not sell at all, right? Until we start putting in like, okay, we have limited tickets and the number of tickets left, right? And the way we did it to battle what you did not believe when you say that, oh, we have limited tickets and you did not believe that, right? So what we did is we made it public. People could see how many tickets we have left, and that makes it believable. Then tickets started selling. There's a few ways of creating scarcity. I have my notes here. Number one would be to create limited supply of maybe seats or slots in a conference context, right? If you have 100 seats, you tell people you have 80 seats left, 60 seats left, 50 seats left. The second way of doing scarcity is maybe putting up a bonus. So let's just say you don't actually limit the number of seats, or maybe you're running a virtual conference and you have no you have unlimited supply of seats. What you can do then is you can put up a limited supply of bonus. For example, the first 50 people who sign up for the conference gets a one-to-one with one of the speakers. Once this 50 is gone, that's it. And the third way of creating scarcity, of course, is maybe through a sale that is never available again. So, for example, after the first 50 tickets, the price is maybe 100 ringgit. But after the first 50 tickets, the price is no longer available anymore. So, three ways of creating scarcity. One mistake I think that marketers tend to make when they create scarcity sort of like tactics, right, is that it's not believable. Like you said it yourself, you saw that timer there, you saw that sits. You know they are putting it there for a reason, but you also know that maybe it's not true, right? So that's one of the challenges that we as marketers have to battle against. One way I can suggest is earlier, put out in public, let people see the numbers, then they believe it, right? Number two is to be very honest with it. So, for example, right, if you're running maybe conference number one and you say here you have like 50 tickets. Now, once you sell out the 50 tickets, you have to announce to people that all 50 tickets are sold. So the next time when you run an event again, people will know that, okay, this is actually true. They are not bluffing at this, right? But you have to sell out that 50 tickets, right? So to create that sort of thing for the next round. So that are some of my thoughts on creating scarcity. But coming back to the whole point, people will be people, whether you like it or not. We need something before we take action. If the price is just there, people will just dilly and dally, they wait till the last minute. And as an event organizer, that's very, very scary because you do not know who is coming until the last 1 or 2 days.
People always reward like good behavior by doing things like early bird. Have you ever done like a late sale?
I've not done that before, and the reason I've not done that before, right, is because I want to honor the people who have bought in early. A lot of event organizers, right? What that happens behind the scenes is they sell maybe like, okay, let's just say they have 100 seats, right? So they open maybe 30 early bird. All of a sudden, the next 30 tickets become super hard to sell. Now, it becomes 5 days before the event. They're desperate, right? It's okay if you don't make money, but we need to fill up this whole event space so we don't look bad, right? And most of them will start giving out coupons, coupons here, coupons there. And some of them will give out free. Hey, please come to my event to make themselves look good so they don't embarrass themselves. Now, this is very, very tempting for any event organizers out there. I can tell you that from experience because I feel that way as well. When I market conference, right, when I market the current Underdog Ad Con, I made to share you a personal experience, right? And I wrote about this on Daily CMO as well. I approached a few partners, basically, a few Facebook communities and get them to actually maybe I post into their Facebook groups, right? And ask them to, just share it to your audiences. This guy comes along and say, hey bro, any complimentary tickets? And then I say, oh, I don't have complimentary tickets. So I thought he wants a complimentary for himself, right? So I say, oh, I don't have any complimentary tickets. I can give you one. But for a community, I think the best I can do is to give away a small discount. Oh, and then he started giving me a lecture. And he's like, oh, bro, you should do free tickets, right? It's good for a buzz. You should give every Facebook group a free ticket so that people will come and all that. And I said like, okay, no, I appreciate your advice. I know you run some events yourself, but I didn't actually allocate any complimentary tickets for this particular round. So maybe next time, thanks, right? And it comes back to that earlier point, where I said don't give free tickets or don't run free conferences because people won't appreciate them. These people might sign up for it, but they might not even turn up, right? And if they turn up, so they'll be on their phones. I want to move on to another point, right? And ask you another question about the conference you had joined earlier. Now, is there any way they made you feel part of the conference?
A lot of people sometimes they do conferences just for conference sake, but they don't understand that the real value behind it is the relationships you make. That's why I'm interested to see how your video thing turns out. Because doing the personalized route or having so much transparency in what you do, it's definitely something that's going to open a lot of eyes. People are so conditioned to like but untruth lah in the whole marketing sphere. They say things like all marketers are liars, and I think there's actually a book by that name. You're taking a very I wouldn't say controversial, it's off the beaten path. it's sure to stand out, and people are going to be like, hey, we've never seen marketing done this way before. Like going back again to the point of having a community, to make yourself part of that community is actually very important. But for me, I didn't feel affiliated to Talent Bank. After the event, I was just like, okay, I'll just follow up with the people who I felt had value to me. I definitely did not send a message back to the organizer saying, hey, your
Yeah.
conference really helped me. But there was value being gleaned. Lah.
But yeah, when it comes to the videos that I send to people, right, what that creates is a very warm audience. So when they come to the conference, they're like friends already. I know them, I know what they do, what business they are in, that sort of thing. And I think people appreciate that. So they feel like, oh, now I'm part of this whole event. The organizer knows me, my name, knows my company, my name, remembers me, and that is something that nobody ever does in the industry, right? So I'm really like begging down on that one for now. Number two, the transparency. If you like to take a look at the current revenues of Underdog Ad Con, you can actually. I do have this post on Daily Symbol called BTS, that stands for behind the scenes, Underdog Ad Con 23,
Man,
right?
you're taking like exposés to a next new level, man.
I just want to be honest because I think it might inspire some people to do their own stuff as well. And if you can't find that post, you can just go to the conference page underdog.dailycmo.net. And if you go down to the pricing section, right, you'll see a small line behind there that says, "Hey, we are building in public." And there's a link that brings you to the exact page to show you all the revenues and all that kind of stuff, and all the updates, the learnings that we've done, and all that kind of thing. One way of pulling people to be part of it is to get their logos, their company logos, behind the backdrop as well. When they sign up before 30th April, right? I mean, that's just tomorrow, but we have a few people who have signed up, few companies who have signed up, right? What I'll do is I'll get their company logo and put that behind the backdrop. So we are printing a backdrop, their logos will be there. So what that makes, right, is although it's something very simple, is when they come to the conference, they see their logo on the backdrop, right? They feel part of the conference immediately. The next thing they're going to do, right, is they're going to take a picture of themselves in front of the backdrop. And they're going to share that to their social media, and then it spreads. So that is one thing that I'm taking right now to try to build this sense of belonging for people who attend the conference as well.
The value that you advertising conferences like this bring is that it's really highlighting how Asian marketing is done as well. And
Yeah.
we don't hear of any Asian highlights. We usually get very westernized perspectives, and you're highlighting a lot of individuals that come from Malaysian corporates. Just to tell you something about the corporate spheres that I've been in, I think McKinsey in 2019, they announced the rise of the Asian century. This is a period that they say a lot of the development will be led by Asia in this upcoming century. It's something that's interesting to look at, and you are definitely one of the first people to leverage on this.
I mean, okay, I think we spent a lot of time talking about like ways to create and also market a conference, right? So I think we shared a lot. Before we end here, John, I think we do have something to give for those who have been listening up to this point.
As a special treat for our listeners today, we're actually offering a very special code for you. If you want to join the Underdog Ad Conference 2023, all you need to do is to log on to underdog.dailycmo.net. That's UNDERDOG.dailycmo.net. When you go there, please make sure you enter the code DAILYPOD, that's DAILYPOD, to be eligible for a RM30 ringgit discount for the upcoming Underdog Advertising Conference 2023. So this event will actually be held at Bean Brothers Damansara on the 12th of May from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So we hope to see you there for the Advertising Ad Con 2023, and definitely don't miss this annual event that's sure to optimize the way you do online advertising.
All right, thank you, John. Very nicely said. You can also Google it, this Underdog Conference. You'll find it ranked first on Google. So yeah, thanks, and I hope to see you in the conference. You're gonna have a good time, good meal, and also great, cool people that you're gonna meet right there.